Your inbox just delivered that email. Exciting organizational changes, operational efficiency improvements, investing in next-generation tools. You read it before your coffee finished brewing and your chest tightened before you reached the second sentence. That tightening is not irrational. That is your body correctly reading a real signal. AI replaced a content team of 12 at a mid-size marketing firm last spring. Klarna replaced 700 customer service agents with an AI system in a single quarter. This is not speculation about future risk. This is the layoff notice already sitting in someone's inbox this morning. Maybe yours eventually. Maybe your partner's. Maybe your closest colleague by Friday. One announcement, one restructuring, one we're moving in a new direction. And if your entire financial life runs through a single employer who is actively evaluating AI alternatives to your role, you are one board meeting away from a complete stop. That is the structure, not the fear, the actual structure. And structures can be rebuilt. Before we get into the full system, open your Notes app right now. Write down every single place money currently enters your life. Your salary, a freelance project, investment returns, anything. Count the lines. If you have one line, that number is the problem this entire video solves. The mechanic is the income stack, layered income sources built so that no single AI-driven cut can zero you out completely. I'm going to show you how to build it, starting with a move that costs nothing and takes under 10 minutes. My name is Greek Man. I walked out of ancient Athens. I watched economies collapse because people refused to adapt when the dominant system shifted underneath them. And I am here because AI is the biggest economic shift most of you will experience in your lifetime, and most of you are completely unprepared for it. Subscribe if you are done letting one company's technology budget determine your entire financial future. Here is the roadmap. We are going to identify exactly which jobs AI is replacing fastest and why, build the income stack in 7 concrete steps specifically designed around the AI economy, establish a cash reserve that gives you real decision-making room when disruption hits, and close with the specific trap that destroys the whole system after you have already built it, so you can breathe again instead of quietly panicking every time your company announces a new software partnership. Here is what is actually happening inside companies right now. AI tools are being evaluated on one metric, cost per output. If a tool produces the same deliverable your role produces at a lower monthly cost, the conversation has already started without you in the room. Copywriting, basic data analysis, customer support scripting, invoice processing, resume screening, entry-level coding, report summarization. These categories are not future targets. They are active replacement zones right now. And the employees most at risk are not the ones doing bad work. They are the ones doing predictable work. Predictable is what AI does cheapest. Most modern people think working harder inside a vulnerable role is the answer. It is not. Efficiency inside a doomed category is still doomed. The answer is structural, and I am going to show you the exact structure after this. Stay with me, because in about 2 minutes, I'm going to name the specific income category AI structurally cannot replicate effectively, and that is almost certainly not where you are currently focusing your energy. The ugly minute looks like this. Your company announces an AI integration partnership. You tell yourself you are safe because you have been there 4 years and your manager likes you. 6 weeks later, there's a team meeting about role evolution. 2 weeks after that, you are handed a transition package and a laptop return form. You open your banking app that afternoon, and your cash reserve, the money set aside as a minimum threshold to keep your life operational, is $300. Rent is due in 11 days. You apply to 40 jobs in a week. You take the first offer regardless of the 30% pay cut because you cannot wait. The layoff notice owned you completely because you had nothing underneath it. That is a structural problem. Structural problems have structural solutions. Stop. Let me make the income stack concrete. 3 tiers. Tier 1 is your primary employment, salary, main client, full-time role. Tier 2 is convertible income, a skill you already own that a person or business outside your employer will pay for directly. Tier 3 is semi-passive income, dividends, a digital product, royalties, anything producing without consuming every available hour. You do not build all three at once. You identify Tier 2 and activate it while Tier 1 is still running. That timing is everything. Waiting until Tier 1 collapses to start Tier 2 is the single most expensive mistake I see modern people make in this economy. The fastest zero-cost way to activate Tier 2 is coming in Step 2. Keep watching. Step 1. Audit your AI exposure level. Go back to your Notes app list, look at your primary income source, and ask one honest question. Is the core output of my role something AI can produce at lower cost than my salary? If the answer is possibly yes, write exposed next to that line. Most modern people skip this audit because it is uncomfortable. Do it anyway. In ancient Corinth, merchants who refused to acknowledge that new trade routes were making their position obsolete lost everything within a single generation. The ones who named the threat early adapted. You are doing the same exercise right now. Name the exposure accurately before the decision gets made for you. Step 2. Identify your AI-resistant convertible skill. This is the income category AI structurally cannot replicate effectively, yet. Deep domain expertise combined with trust, judgment in genuinely ambiguous situations, and relationship-based problem solving. What do you know, specifically, that took years of real experience to develop that a client or business would pay for directly outside your employer? Consulting, coaching, specialized technical troubleshooting, high-stakes communication, niche industry knowledge. Write one skill, the most developed one you own, directly under your audit in that Notes app. That is your Tier 2 candidate. One skill, one line. This is where the income stack begins. Federal Reserve 2023. 37% of U.S. adults cannot cover a $400 emergency with cash savings. If you are in that group and AI eliminates your role tomorrow, you have days, not months, to make a rational decision. Days is not enough time to make good choices. That number changes with Step 3. Step 3. Calculate your income minimum threshold, not your full lifestyle budget, your survival number. Rent, food, utilities, transportation, nothing beyond that. Write it down monthly. That is the minimum threshold your income stack is ultimately designed to cover, even if Tier 1 disappears completely. Right now, your stack probably cannot cover it alone. The gap between where your stack sits today and that minimum threshold number is exactly the distance you are working to close. You can see it now instead of just feeling it. Step 4. Build your cash reserve to 3 months of that minimum threshold. Separate account. Label it Cash Reserve. Do not touch. The label matters psychologically more than most people realize. A labeled account gets treated differently than a generic savings balance. This is not an investment account. This is reaction time. The gap between disruption and desperation. 3 months gives you enough space to evaluate offers rationally instead of accepting the first one out of panic. AI layoffs are happening fast. Your cash reserve buys you the one thing you cannot manufacture in a crisis: time to think clearly. After the steps, I'm going to show you exactly how the relapse trap specifically connects to AI complacency and why the people who feel safest right now are actually the most exposed. Keep watching. Step 5. Activate Tier 2 before AI makes Tier 1 unstable. While your salary is still arriving, while you have mental bandwidth and stable income to absorb the experimentation cost, you start. One client, one project, one invoice outside your employer's name. Epictetus was a slave in Rome, zero control over his assigned labor. He built philosophical expertise so specific that free citizens crossed the Mediterranean to pay for his instruction. He could not change his environment. He made himself the resource the environment needed, regardless of what that environment did. You have more freedom than he ever had. Use it before someone else's software decision removes it. Here is the one exception. If your employment contract includes a non-compete clause, read it carefully before activating Tier 2 in the same industry segment. Many are narrowly scoped. Some are written intentionally broad. Know exactly what you signed. Building income security by violating a contract is just trading one exposure for a different one. Step 6. Make yourself structurally harder to automate inside Tier 1. AI is replacing predictable execution. It is not yet replacing judgment in genuinely high-stakes, unstructured, relationship-dependent situations. If your current role is primarily transactional, templated outputs, standard processing, fixed pattern responses, you are in the active replacement zone. Shift deliberately toward decision-making, complex communication, and cross-functional problem-solving inside your existing position. These are the surfaces where human judgment still carries premium value. Stop optimizing the automatable parts of your job. Start expanding the irreplaceable parts. Step 7. 90-day income stack review. Set the calendar reminder before this video ends. Every 90 days, open the Notes app and ask 3 questions. How many income lines exist now compared to last quarter? Is the cash reserve higher or lower than 90 days ago? Is Tier 2 producing or has it stalled from neglect? This is not a guilt exercise. AI is not slowing down. Your stack review is how you ensure your adaptation keeps pace with the disruption. Systems without maintenance decay. Yours will too if you stop checking. Warning, here is the relapse trap, and it is specifically dangerous in an AI economy. Your company has not made any announcements lately. Things feel stable. The cash reserve has 2 months of coverage. Tier 2 has 1 decent client. You ease up. You tell yourself AI is moving slower than people said it would. You let Tier 2 go quiet because Tier 1 feels okay right now. Then your company announces a new enterprise AI platform integration. Then your role gets restructured into the new workflow. Then you open the banking app and your cash reserve is back at $400 because you spent the stable month assuming stability was permanent. Comfort is how the income stack dies. The system only holds if you maintain it during the calm periods. That is when it actually gets built. Most modern people treat AI as a news story about other people's jobs until the email lands in their own inbox. You treat it as an active structural threat that requires an active structural response. That is the only difference between the people who adapt and the people who get surprised. Retap. Audit your AI exposure level. Identify your AI-resistant convertible skill. Calculate your income minimum threshold. Build your cash reserve to 3 months of that number. Activate Tier 2 while Tier 1 is still running. Make yourself harder to automate inside your current role. And run a 90-day stack review every quarter. 7 steps, all of them executable starting today. The bar is low. Be slightly above average in multiple areas and you win. Most people have 1 income line, no cash reserve, and 0 active Tier 2. You build 2 income sources and a 3-month minimum threshold reserve, and you have already placed yourself in a category most people around you will never reach, including the ones who were laid off last quarter and are still recovering. Discipline is not punishment. It is the mechanism that purchases the freedom to choose your next move instead of being forced into one by a company's AI budget decision. I am Greek Man. I will see you in the next one.